Hey everyone, my name is Gary, and this is Canada Movie Man, a YouTube channel I'm starting to talk about everything movies, TV show, as that's a passion of mine and something I've always enjoyed. I like watching other YouTube channels that talk about top tens or just random rankings about certain things on topics that I like. So that's what I plan to do on this channel. So if that's something that seems interesting to you, then please subscribe and help grow the channel. On today's first episode, I thought it would be fun to talk about 10 movies from the 2000s to current that I feel are either underrated or underappreciated, and maybe some people haven't heard or haven't really given the time or I guess respect that I think it deserves. If you disagree, or if you have your own ranking or own list of movies that you feel fall into this category, I'd love to hear it. Maybe it's a movie I haven't seen, or maybe I just think it's garbage and like to talk about it. So, with that being said, I'm going to start with the first movie, and it's the most recent one on my list, and that is Horizon, and that's going to be part one. So this is the Kevin Costner Western saga that he started. I feel it has great characters. I know it's a long movie, which some people don't like today, but at 3 hours, I personally felt that it went by pretty fast. I'm a big Western fan though, so this one resonated well with me, and I'm really sad that we haven't got part two yet. I know it's done filming, and it's been supposed to have been released, I think, as early as 2024, and it keeps getting delayed. So hopefully it sees the light of the day, and I hope Kevin Costner gets to finish this one. But once again, I really enjoyed this one, and hoping we get to see more. Another one from the 2020s, I believe this was released in 2020, is Love and Monsters, featuring Dylan O'Brien. This one to me was just a very fun movie. It's not trying to recreate the genre or anything like that, but I like the characters. I thought it had some good wit, good humor. And once again, Dylan O'Brien is somebody that I resonate with. I think he has a good mix of charm, action, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and had some good twists and turns in that I wasn't expecting. So if you haven't seen that one, worth checking out. Next on the list is one from the early 2010s. This one's called Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. Once again, I think people typically talk highly about this one, but I don't hear a lot of people talking about it. And for me, this is just a kind of a classic case of a good family film. I'm a father of three kids, and this is one that I can sit down with my kids, and kind of brings me back to the early movies that I was watching in the 80s and 90s with my parents. So kind of, I know on the front here it always says it's Rocky with robots, and that's pretty much kind of what it is. So yeah, if you haven't checked this one out, highly recommend. Next up, this one's from the mid-2000s, called Lords of Dogtown. This features some good actors, Emile Hirsch, Heath Ledger, and it's set in the 1970s in California, specifically in Santa Monica, I believe it was, and really kind of a coming-of-age story of this group of friends that were into skateboarding, and you really kind of watch them as it takes off and launches them into the business side of the world. But really interesting movie, good cast, and don't hear a lot of people talking about this one, so thought that was worth mentioning today. Another one from the mid-2000s. I know Michael Bay gets a lot of heat, but I think The Island is a great movie. This one obviously features Ewan McGregor, Scarlett Johansson, but has a really good supporting cast as well. And I think the story's wonderful. Sci-fi, gets into cloning and everything. And now that we're into that whole AI world, where it's really starting to blossom, I think this movie resonates even more today. But yeah, I think it's rated 6 point something on IMDb. And to me, this has always been, an 8 out of 10 movie at least. But yeah, really good story. Some nice twists in it. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. All right. Ryan Gosling, love that guy. And this is one of, I think, his most underappreciated movies, called Fracture. Once again, from the mid-2000s. Also features Sir Anthony Hopkins. A really good film here. Kind of a cat and mouse, legal drama. But if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil anything. Really good storyline, great acting, some nice twists in this one as well. So if you get a chance and you like legal dramas, definitely check it out. This one, as you can see, is still sealed. I just found it on Blu-ray. I had it on DVD before, but it's from the early 2000s, 2001, I believe, called Frailty. This one features Bill Paxton and Matthew McConaughey, and it was actually directed by Bill Paxton. Really good movie. kind of a spiritual thriller, mystery type film. And if you haven't seen this one, I don't want to spoil anything for you. Kind of walk into it cold, and I think it'll surprise you. But once again, doesn't really get talked about too much today, but this is in my top 10 movies of that year, probably top 5. So if you haven't checked this one out, give it a watch. Next up, from the early 2000s again, this one's called The Last Castle. Once again, I just think this is a really interesting kind of throwback action type thriller movies. We don't get really a lot of movies like this made today, but really good cast. James Gandolfini, of course, rest in peace. Robert Redford, rest in peace. Mark Ruffalo, Delroy Lindo. I think Delroy Lindo actually passed away as well. So, a lot of really good actors, many of whom are no longer with us. But this was early Mark Ruffalo before he really took off. And really interesting story, power dynamics in jail, and the two sides. And you really hate James Gandolfini in this one. That's all I'll say. This one I rarely hear get talked about. It's called The Way of the Gun, and it was actually written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. This one I just think is a really fun movie, really witty. It's kind of an action comedy, dark comedy almost in a way, but really, really good humor and good lines in this one. The opening scene to me is one of the best opening scenes in a movie. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but made me love it right away. Just love the way that he films the scenes in here and some of the action, and some good twists in there as well. So and great cast, by the way, as well, if you haven't seen this one. So check it out. It came out, I believe it was 2000. So earliest movie on this list, but highly recommend Way of the Gun. And then last on my list is going to be 2 movies from this collection. Obviously, the first 3 in the trilogy everyone talks about and loves. Jason Bourne and The Bourne Legacy get a lot of hate. And in my opinion, The Bourne Legacy is a good movie on its own. I love Jeremy Renner in the role. And just think it gets a lot of undue hate. And, I get it if you're comparing it to the first 3 movies, but I think it's its own movie. And, really like the storyline, love the acting by Jeremy Renner specifically. Rachel Weisz is good in that one as well. And then Jason Bourne I thought was a solid follow-up. I don't think it tarnished the first 3 movies that they did. And I've always enjoyed the books. I've always enjoyed the movies. So, maybe we'll get to see that world again at some point. But, one that I always loved and enjoyed. So that's it. Short and sweet. I think that was 10 total, well, I guess 11 movies if you include the 2 Bourne ones that I mentioned, but that's my list for some underrated or underappreciated movies. Like I mentioned, if you have your own list you want to talk about, send them in the comments. Love to hear about it. But I hope you enjoyed today's video, and like I said, subscribe if you want to see more. Enjoy the day.